This video is an introduction to the Fields page in SnapPlus version 3. Once we've logged into our SnapPlus version 3 account and clicked on the Fields page at the top menu, we can see that we have 5 tabs. They're the Overview tab, Land Attributes, Soil Tests, Maps, and Field Restrictions. We have previous videos covering how to import soil tests and get started in maps. In this video, I want to show you some tips for working in the Fields page and make sure you understand how to use these different features. Starting with the Overview tab. The first thing to notice is that the Overview tab has a crop year selector in the upper left-hand corner. Right now, I'm working in crop year 2026, but I could select other crop years where I have data in my plan by selecting the menu and clicking the appropriate year. I also have a summary at the top of my screen of my active fields and my inactive fields. For this farm, I have 9 fields currently active with this many cropping acres, and 1 field that's inactive for this crop year. Keep in mind that since we save this data by crop year, you may have different numbers of fields that are active or inactive in previous years. I have a choice down below whether I want to display my inactive fields. Right now, this button is turned off, and I know that because it's gray, but it's letting me know that I have 1 field that's inactive that is not currently being displayed. If I wanted to show that field, I can click this button to turn it blue, and my inactive field, called SWGMA test, shows up here. I know that this is my inactive field because the checkbox in the Is Active column is unchecked. For now, I'll continue to hide that inactive field. Over on the right side, I also wanted to point out that you can make both groups and subfarms here from the field page. Let's say that I wanted to make a group. I could click on Group Settings and New Group, and I have to give my group a name. Let's call this the Hill Group. Next, I see the instruction to click on rows to add fields. So I'll add my 3 fields that are all on the hill to this group by clicking them to highlight them blue. Once I'm ready to save my group, I'll click Save Changes. This screen shows only the fields that are in my group, and I know that because I can see that Hill Group is selected in this drop-down menu. If I'd prefer to see all fields, I can select this drop-down and click All. If I've made several groups and I'd like to review, I can go back to Group Settings and click View Groups. This opens up a pop-up where I can see the name of the groups that I've created, and I can also see the fields that are in each of those groups if I need a reminder. You can do the same thing for subfarms. If I have many fields on my field table, I can sort them by any of the columns in this table. I can do that by clicking on the column header until I see an arrow to sort in ascending or descending order. Another thing to notice about this page is that I have acres values here that are populated based on my map data. If for some reason I needed to edit this data by hand, I can do that by clicking inside this cell and updating to the correct acres value. Notice that when you edit one of these cells by hand, it receives a lock symbol, and when I mouse over that symbol, the label says that map data cannot overwrite locked cells. Keep that in mind if you make any changes to your acres data by hand, and then follow up by altering any field boundaries or other features in maps that might affect your spreadable acres. The other 2 buttons that we haven't looked at on this page are the New Field button and the Copy Field button. The New Field button is a button that you can click in order to create a new field manually that you don't already have through soil tests or field boundaries that you've added in maps. I don't need to add a new field right now, so I can click the Delete button to get rid of that empty row. The Copy Field button is inactive until you select the field that you'd like to copy. When you copy a field, what happens is that you copy all of the spatial data about that field, which I can see here with my cropping and spreadable acres, and you also copy the crop history and application history of that field at the time that you made the copy. For now, I'll get rid of my extra field by clicking the Delete button. The next tab that we'll tour on the Fields page is the Land Attributes tab. This is another table that is populated primarily with data that's coming from maps. It has information about the county, soil data, slope, slope length, and other variables that are used in the SnapPlus p-index calculation. Notice here that I also have a column for notes if I'd like to add notes by field, and I can add them by clicking on the pencil button and typing in the box that comes up here. These notes are saved for each field. Once I'm done editing, I can collapse that row by clicking on the pencil again, and my note will be saved for that field. Notice that I still have settings available here to add or edit my groups and subfarms here on the Land Attributes tab. We've already reviewed the Soil Test and Maps tabs in previous videos. I wanted to spend 1 minute looking at the Field Restrictions tab as a final reminder. On this tab, we see information with checkboxes for each field restriction that's relevant on the field displayed and the crop year displayed. Like other pages, I have the option to filter by groups or by subfarms if I have a long list of fields that I'm working with here. Most of the information on the Field Restrictions page is automatically populated from maps, so for the most part, you don't need to spend time in here checking individual boxes. But this can be a nice way to review across different fields which types of restrictions might be relevant for that field.